Remember walking through those tall glass doors at Eaton's, the smell of perfume drifting from the cosmetics counter, the soft hum of escalators, and the polished marble floors that seemed to stretch forever. Eaton's wasn't just a store, it was an institution, a place where generations of Canadians shopped, dreamed, and built memories. But one day it was gone, vanished from our cities almost overnight. So what really happened to Eaton's? How did Canada's most beloved department store, once called the T. Eaton Company Limited, the greatest retail empire in the Dominion, collapse after more than a century of dominance? Let's uncover the story. The story of Eaton's begins in 1869 in a modest dry goods shop on Yonge Street in Toronto. Its founder, Timothy Eaton, was a man with big ideas and an even bigger sense of faith. He believed shopping should be honest, fair, and accessible. His famous motto, "Goods satisfactory or money refunded," changed everything. It was radical at a time when many merchants refused returns and prices were negotiated in secret. Timothy Eaton replaced haggling with fixed prices, honesty, and a guarantee that customers could trust. The idea caught fire. Within just a few years, Eaton's became synonymous with integrity and innovation. By the late 1800s, the store had expanded far beyond Toronto. In 1884, the company launched the Eaton's Catalogue, a simple printed book that would transform Canadian life. For families living on farms and in remote towns, this catalogue wasn't just mail, it was magic. You could order everything from furniture and wedding rings to musical instruments, all delivered by train or sleigh. It became known as the Homesteader's Bible, a symbol of modern convenience and connection in a vast, rugged country. By the early 1900s, Eaton's wasn't just a store, it was Canada's store. New flagship locations opened in Winnipeg, Montreal, and eventually across the prairies. Each grand opening was treated like a royal event. Newspapers covered it, crowds lined up outside. The red E logo became a mark of pride. Eaton's grew alongside Canada itself. As the railway connected the nation, Eaton's connected its people. Its catalogue reached nearly every home. You could order a house, a baby carriage, or a winter coat all from one place. The store also created jobs for thousands. Sales clerks, elevator attendants, tailors, and typists filled the great Eaton's buildings that dominated downtown skylines. For many women entering the workforce for the first time, Eaton's was a gateway to independence. Inside those stores, everything gleamed. Chandeliers sparkled above mahogany counters. Pianos played softly in the background. It wasn't just shopping, it was theatre. At Christmas, Eaton's became pure magic. The Eaton's Santa Claus Parade, which began in 1905 in Toronto, drew thousands to the streets. For decades, it was the event that marked the start of the Canadian holiday season. Parents and children would crowd the sidewalks, their breath visible in the cold, waiting for Santa to wave from his sleigh. Those parades were broadcast nationwide, spreading Eaton's cheer from coast to coast. The Eaton family became one of Canada's most powerful dynasties. They lived in mansions, held social influence, and were known for both their faith and their philanthropy. But they also ran the business like a family mission. Eaton stood for quality, service, and decency values that shaped Canadian retail culture for generations. Through 2 world wars, Eaton's was more than a business. It was a national institution. During World War I and II, the company supplied uniforms, equipment, and care packages to Canadian troops overseas. Employees enlisted in large numbers, and Eaton's published their letters in company newsletters. There was a sense that Eaton's wasn't just selling goods, it was serving the country. By the 1950s, Eaton's was at its absolute height. Its downtown stores were landmarks, marble, glass, and gold-lettered entrances that felt like cathedrals of commerce. To many Canadians, a trip to Eaton's wasn't an errand, it was an occasion. You dressed up, you rode the escalator just for fun. You stopped at the restaurant for tea and sandwiches afterward. Eaton's was elegance, aspiration, and reliability, all wrapped in one. But by the 1970s, the story began to change. New players were entering the market. The suburban shopping mall was rising, and with it came a new generation of competitors. The Bay, Sears, Simpsons, and later Walmart. The retail landscape was shifting fast, and Eaton's was slow to adapt. While other chains expanded into the suburbs, Eaton's clung to its downtown palaces. The same features that once symbolized class grand architecture, heavy staff numbers, lavish window displays became costly liabilities. The company still saw itself as Canada's aristocratic department store, even as consumers began looking for convenience and low prices over prestige. The Eaton family, still running the business from the top, struggled to modernize its image. They hesitated to discount, resisted trends, and believed the Eaton's name alone would carry them through. But retail was changing. The very catalogue that once made Eaton's famous now looked old-fashioned in the age of television and mass marketing. Shipping costs rose, and regional competitors began offering faster delivery. By the 1980s, the legendary Eaton's catalogue, the one that had once reached every home in the country, was discontinued. It was the end of an era. The 1980s and 1990s were years of slow decline. Stores became dated, layouts confusing, products uninspired. Shoppers began drifting toward newer, brighter malls and discount retailers that better reflected the modern lifestyle. Internally, Eaton's was burdened by high costs, aging infrastructure, and family disagreements about the future. While Hudson's Bay and Sears embraced change, introducing credit cards, aggressive marketing, and private labels, Eaton's seemed trapped in nostalgia, clinging to a golden age that no longer existed. By the mid-1990s, cracks turned into chasms. Sales fell year after year. Attempts to rebrand, including a new lowercase logo, and trendy ad campaigns failed to resonate. Loyal customers were growing older, and younger shoppers didn't feel the same emotional bond. The once vibrant stores began to feel like ghosts of their former selves. Quiet aisles, empty counters, flickering fluorescent lights. Then came the final blow. In 1997, after years of losses and mounting debt, Eaton's filed for bankruptcy protection. The announcement stunned the country. For millions of Canadians, Eaton's was woven into the fabric of their lives. A store where their grandparents had bought wedding china, where their parents had picked out school clothes, where they themselves had seen Santa for the first time. Efforts were made to save the company. Hudson's Bay acquired the remaining stores and attempted to relaunch them under the Eaton's name in 1999, hoping nostalgia would revive the brand. But it was too late, the magic was gone. By 2002, the last Eaton store closed its doors for good. The red E disappeared from the skyline, and with it, a piece of Canadian identity seemed to vanish too. Even today, decades after its fall, Eaton's remains a powerful symbol of what once defined Canadian retail and community. Its buildings, many of them converted into offices or shopping complexes, still bear traces of the empire that once ruled the high street. The Toronto Eaton Centre, ironically built on the site of the original Eaton store, still carries the name, but not the spirit. For those who grew up before the 2000s, memories of Eaton's linger like photographs in an old album. The holiday window displays glowing with mechanical toys and twinkling lights, the rich sound of the store orchestra echoing through the atrium, the crisp rustle of paper shopping bags, the scent of roasted nuts and wool coats on a cold December day. It wasn't just a place to buy things, it was where life happened. Engagement rings, Christmas gifts, back-to-school outfits, first paychecks all tied to Eaton's. Ask any Canadian over 40 about Eaton's and you'll see it, that warm, bittersweet smile. Because Eaton's wasn't just part of our economy, it was part of our identity. So why did Eaton's collapse? The reasons were many and painfully human: a failure to adapt, a reluctance to change, the burden of family tradition, and the unstoppable march of globalization and technology. But beneath the economics, there's a deeper story. Eaton's thrived because it understood Canadians. It connected city to countryside, rich to poor, coast to coast. It gave dignity to customers and opportunity to workers. It reflected the optimism of a young nation building itself from the ground up. When Eaton's disappeared, it wasn't just another business failure. It marked the end of a century-long chapter, a time when department stores were cathedrals of community, when shopping felt personal, and when one family's vision could shape a country's culture. The fall of Eaton's reminds us that even the mightiest institutions can fade when they stop listening, stop evolving, or forget the people who made them great. The name Eaton's may no longer light up our city streets, but its spirit lives on in the values it championed and the memories it left behind. Every Christmas parade, every bustling shopping centre, every vintage catalogue sitting in an attic somewhere, they all whisper the same story. Of a Canada that once gathered under one roof to dream, to shop, and to believe in something bigger than commerce. Eaton's taught Canadians what retail could be: honest, human, and full of wonder. And though its doors have long since closed, the legend remains open in the hearts of those who remember.